Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! Oh wait, it's not December yet. But hey there, thanks for tuning in to Duck Bricks. I'm Chris, and here today we have the biggest LEGO Christmas tree ever made into a LEGO set. This $300 Christmas tree introduces dozens of a brand new leaf element and opens up to reveal a full interior. It's part of the LEGO Families line, which is meaning that it's meant to be built together by families, and better yet, you can literally pack the Christmas tree into the box, which is super high quality, very deluxe, it's kind of a premium packaging, and then save it to open back up next year. However, again, this is $300, so the big question is the biggest LEGO Christmas tree ever built worth $300? Let's dock in and find out right now. What you see before you is the $300 biggest LEGO Christmas tree set ever. It's set number 41843 and it comes with 3,171 pieces, making it the largest LEGO family brand set yet. This is a fascinating build, and it's so interesting how they made a brand new leaf piece for this set. Debuting with multiple copies, I don't even know how many copies are in it, but many, we have a brand new pinecone tree piece, which I'm sure that the Botanical Collection is going to use a lot more after this set, but because they made a new piece for this, it looks like the most accurate Christmas tree we've ever gotten as well. I love the sheer scale of this. It is an absolute monstrosity. But the big question is this worth $300 which is a lot of money to pay for a Christmas tree? Let's jump into my review right now. So first off, obviously there's a lot of details to appreciate on the outside. You've got a great Christmas tree star on the top, utilizing some of the crystal mace elements from the LEGO D&D collectible minifig series. You have a little tree and a scene at the bottom for snow, and of course, all sorts of ornaments decorating the tree that are dual colored in satin, opalescent, transparent colors, as well as just different large baubles as well. First off, to take a look at some of the side builds here, you have Santa in a sleigh, and I like how they're able to make a pretty compact version of the sleigh here. It's relatively simple in its construction, but it's using some fairly clever studs in the side techniques, which I think look pretty good, and you even have a fun little electronic sort of command console for Santa there, hinting at maybe some of the secrets inside the tree itself. Of course, you do get a reindeer element, which is a really good one to get. They introduced this a few years ago, and it's already one of my favorite LEGO animal elements ever, and I'm really glad they included at least one in this set. They also include a little piece for you to place in between the reindeer so you can choose to display it without the sleigh. Over on these side builds here, we'll take a look at the minifigs at the end, but finally, for the first time in an official LEGO set, we have LEGO's Christmas mascot Cataclaus. I don't really know what the story was behind like the marketing campaign of Cataclaus and why it got so much focus despite not appearing as a LEGO set, but I guess it has one now. At the base of the tree, you'll see a little neat function to rotate the train here, which is a nice little micro-scale display. You have some trees and miniature houses in this micro-scale layout as well, which are pretty hard to see once all is built, but I like how it's kind of a little window into a winter scene. And this mechanism actually stretches throughout the entire set, making a lot more things move on the inside. But you might be wondering, what inside? Well, this is actually a multi-function set. Opening up the leaves of the tree on both sides allows you to see a full-on interior, and this is one of the most interesting parts of the entire set. Both sides of the tree can be opened up with two different levels on each side, some of which actually connect to each other, which is really cool to showcase just the amount of creativity that went into planning this. Honestly, this feels like kind of a hybrid between a Christmas display piece and sort of like a winter village sort of build, which is a very interesting concept for a LEGO set to take. I certainly cannot think of any other LEGO set that is quite like this, and I love how it's certainly a lot more interesting than just a tree by itself, which I think would have gotten really monotonous and repetitive really quickly, so I'm really glad this actually does have an interior. As you can see, twisting the train on the bottom not only turns the miniature tree on the top, but also spins the clock on the side of the wall, which is really cute. Honestly though, for a function that the entire set is built around, I kinda wish they had even more mechanisms connected up to it. I don't really know what it could have been, maybe like a conveyor belt or some sort of motorized thing for Santa's elves to work on toys, but it feels like a bit of a wasted opportunity to have 2 out of the 3 things that moves basically be just something spinning around. Moving onwards though, we can take a look at the interior, and on the inside you can see a bit of a look at Santa's workshop here. He's working on a white car, not really sure if that's supposed to be referencing any particular Lego set, but it is nice to see. There's a sewing machine, there's a hint towards the Winter Village post office with the logo on the mailbox there, and then of course you can see just all sorts of different accessories like some paintbrushes mounted on the side of the wall. There's a little bit of Easter eggs just scattered throughout the entire set, especially as we move up to the upper level here, showcasing an arcade gaming area. You have a pinball machine for Santa, which is very funny to see. I think it's a very simple but nice build. And then you have a set of arcade cabinets, which are appropriately detailed. I really like the Space Invader style one, except it kind of looks like you're shooting down presents from Santa's sleigh, which is very funny. You have portraits of all of the elves that are included in the set alongside here with stickers, which is really nice. Every single one of the elves pictured does appear in the set, except for whatever reason, the two on the top here. The elf in the brick costume and the one that I really wanted, which is the ninja elf, sadly do not appear. I would have loved to see a new color for the Ninjago Legacy dual molded mask or hood element, but alas, it was not to be. I don't even think if that piece is in production anymore anyways, so that probably had something to do with it. Still, it is very, very cool to see all sorts of different details factored into the tree here, and of course, all the leaves are pretty much interchangeable and movable, so you can pose the leaves in different ways to make it feel a bit more organic. The only downside is that sometimes when posing, the leaves do sometimes fall off, just depending on how you've attached them or gotten it set up, but for the most part, I would say it is relatively stable. I don't really know how well this would transport, but I think by itself, it actually isn't quite as fragile as it may seem, because most of the leaves are mounted via either bars and then mounted on Technic pieces, so it actually is relatively stable. The base also has rubber grommets for the feet to allow it to actually have friction as you move it around, and again, it's really cool to just see all the different sides of the model. On the other side, for the interior here, you can see a nice little display reading the Santa computer, and thankfully that was actually a printed detail, so this was not a sticker, which is very, very nice. There's a few different Easter eggs here and there, like a very angry looking penguin as a note on one of them, and then of course you go to the other side and you've got some kids' letters to Santa pinned up, which is very sweet. You can see that mixel joints or mini ball joints are used to attach the arms of the tree together to make sure that it's all connected, and obviously this Santa has a technological twist with a computer tracking his movements. The upper part of the tree is mounted on a simple mini ball joint, but that is just attached to a toe ball connector, so it actually comes off really easily, and some would say a little too easily. I would say that sometimes if you brush it the wrong way, the top of the tree does tend to sometimes just fall off, which definitely isn't something that you want for a model like this, but as long as you're careful with it, it's not that big of a deal. Altogether, I'm actually really impressed by how they were able to maintain the general shape of a tree while still having a full interior. My big worry when this set was kind of first rumored was how boxy it would look if it had an interior, and after seeing it, they actually were able to make it work very well as both a display model of just a standard tree, but also having that interior amount of playability and detail. I do feel like maybe it tapers off a little bit too wide and flat as you go upwards towards the top there, and maybe it could have used like one more level in which that you could actually have it be more shaped like an evergreen tree and make it be a bit more conical, but for the most part, I actually do like the shaping. And again, you can see that every single one of the leaves is adjustable just a little bit, so you can kind of fiddle around with it endlessly until you get the perfect look and feel for the tree that you want. All in all, I'm a big fan of these new leaf pieces as well. I think they do their job very nicely for a set like this, and it is really cool to see the Christmas tree fully finished. It really does feel like the centerpiece of a room. Now, that being said, we do have to talk about value here. On paper, 3,000 plus pieces for $300, especially when many of those pieces are new and large molded components, does seem like quite good value. Again, it's 3,171 pieces, so on paper, I actually think that this could be seen as worth it. But honestly, after everything is said and done and it's fully built, I really don't know if I feel like this is worth $300. I think that the thing that is tricking me a lot is that botanical sets have been getting better and better, and while obviously they aren't as dense as this, and they don't have a full interior, and they don't need leaves on 360 degrees all around, I feel like you get the same sort of visual impact from a larger scale, even like $80 or $70 botanical set, as you might get from this, which is $300. $300 used to be some of the most expensive LEGO sets ever, so to see this retailing at that price point, on paper, and I think physically, the amount of parts you get, the new molds and everything, it is worth it on paper, but in actuality, I don't really know if I feel like I would pay $300 for this as a normal person. Note that I said as a normal person and not as Duckbricks, who is definitely not a normal person. But with that, I do want to take a quick look at the minifigure selection because we actually have a pretty nice selection of figures here to take a look at. First off, we have Mrs. Claus making her appearance yet again in a LEGO set. Infamously, she was supposed to appear in a cancelled GWP, but eventually we did get her in the LEGO City 2023 Advent Calendar, and even before that, we got her for the 2014 Winter Village set. This one is all new though, with a brand new detail for the skirt and the actual torso, which is quite nice, whereas Santa is more of the same. I do love it that they actually still do dual molded legs on Santa for his distinct black boots. I feel like every Santa minifigure basically should have these dual molded components nowadays. There's really no excuse to not include it, and I really like how it's basically become the standard version of Santa. The head underneath is a pretty standard one we have seen before for Santa, but I think it just works very well, and there's really no way they could have made this minifigure any better. I think he is a really good representation. Moving on from that, we have a literal army of elves to accompany the entire area here, and many of them actually have exclusive torso prints, which is really interesting. You can see that you have a really nice red and white candy cane stripe design for the belt. I think that works really well. I like the Christmas tree emblem on the suits as well, which hints at the set they come from. And of course, you have a really cute dual-sided expression here, one side with a wink, which I think works really well. All the different elves have kind of their own gimmick going on. That one is skiing downwards, and this one is the most standard elf, but even this one has a lot of unique stuff going on, from the Cataclaws sweater print, which is really nice. I'm sure that's going to just come in handy for all sorts of holiday designs. He has a cup of milk as well, which is really nice to see that dual molded component. And continuing along with the little miniature line of collectible plushies that LEGO has put out over the course of this year, we have a reindeer themed one, which is very, very cute. Overall, I really do like the very different, varied designs of the elves here, and this one is a knight. You can see that he has a different torso as well. All of them so far have had unique torsos, which is so cool to see, and this one even does come with an exclusive printed shield, which is very nice, and a bright green helmet, which I believe is a recolor for that piece. I don't think we've actually seen it in that color before, which is very nice. Even more exciting, though, is a spaceman elf, and this one introduces two new recolors in bright green for the helmet and the air tanks. We've already gotten a regular green classic spaceman, but now we're getting a bright green variation. I feel like it's only a matter of time until a bright green classic space torso appears in the Build a Minifig station, which is very exciting. It now seems like LEGO is just committed to doing like every single color of spaceman they can, and the torso with the sweater showcasing the classic space logo but with Santa's sleigh is so cute. I absolutely love it, and this is easily my favorite one in the set. Finally, we have a Doc Ock style of elf here, and this one is really funny with a movable backpack. This is the only one that shares the same torso design as one of the other ones in the set, and that is the skiing elf. But again, it is so different and comes with an exclusive snowman plushie that it just feels very unique for the set itself. So overall, my thoughts on this set are actually very positive if you ignore the price. If you just put the $300 price point out of your mind, I honestly feel like this is a really solid build, and I can see it becoming incredibly popular for families to literally build together around the Christmas tree or for the holiday season when it actually releases. $300 though is a lot to swallow for something like this. Is it worth it? Honestly, yes, it probably is. But compared to some other LEGO sets, I definitely feel like you might be able to get a little bit more bang for your buck. And one last thing I forgot to mention, unfortunately I've already thrown out the box, but I was chatting to a few LEGO designers and they actually mentioned to me that this set was designed to be put away and packed away inside the box. The box that came in was a lot nicer than a regular box. It was thicker cardboard, it slid open. There was even a little bit of a cardboard like Christmas letter that you could find inside of it, which was super cute. There was a lot of additional extra things that went into the presentation of the set to make it feel premium, and that was all intentional because it is meant to be packed away in the box and then taken out for another Christmas celebration when the next year rolls around, which is really nice that this kind of feels like a perennial LEGO Christmas set. Those are just my thoughts though, so let me know in the comments, what do you think? Is the biggest LEGO Christmas tree ever worth $300? And what do you think of the brand new foliage piece as well? I certainly am excited to see LEGO utilize that in a lot more settings. I think it can become very, very useful for like rainforest settings or even for fantasy settings if you have like giant leaves your characters are traversing. It's a really cool build. That's all I have to say about this one. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon. Bye for now.